listening to Real Love, Real Stories. And this, my friend, is a podcast to share love stories and also get tips on building meaningful relationships in all aspects of your life. This is your girl, Kanu. I'm the host and producer of the show, and I'm a therapist by training turned love guru. I am so thrilled that you have tuned in because without you, this wouldn't be so fun. So here is another great episode. Enjoy. Hello. This is your girl Kanu coming to you with episode 101. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And as I mentioned in episode 100, if you haven't listened to it, please go back and listen. But I promised that I would be sharing a little more topics that incorporate mental health, because many of you have been asking about that. So I listened and now I am delivering. I'm excited because I get to use my education. I'm a therapist and work as a therapist, and also, so why not? So I'm going to share with you with what I know. So in this particular episode, I'm going to be talking about fighting for love in the depth of depression. So I am going to break down what depression is, share with you the criteria as a clinician, what I use to diagnose, and then I'm going to talk about how you get it. I'm going to talk about the negative effects on relationship. I'm going to talk about how you can support a loved one who has depression. And then at the end, I'm going to share some protective factors. These are factors that you can make sure that you have in place so that if you're struggling with depression, that, you can be able to deal with it in a positive way. So, okay, let's dive right in.
Looking for top-notch talent to take your company to the next level? Look no further than Candle Consulting Group, the premier recruiting company that specializes in finding the best and brightest professionals for our clients. At Candle Consulting Group, we understand that the success of your business depends on the quality of your team. That's why we're committed to finding the perfect candidates to fill your open positions. With our extensive network and proven recruitment strategies, we have a track record of placing top-performing professionals in a variety of industries. We work closely with our clients to understand their unique needs and company culture, allowing us to identify candidates who not only have the right skills and experience, but also fit seamlessly into your team. We pride ourselves on our personalized approach to recruitment, taking the time to get to know both our clients and candidates on a deeper level. So if you're looking for the best and brightest talent to join your team, trust the experts at Candle Consulting Group. Contact us today to learn more about our recruitment services and how we can help take your business to the next level. CandleConsulting.net.
Depression is a common and very serious mental health disorder that can cause persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and a lack of interest in life. It affects how you feel, how you think, how you behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. As a clinician, we use a manual. It's called the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Right now, they're on version 5, text revision. And in short, it is called the DSM-5 TR. And I'm sharing with you because what I want to do right now is to share with you the criteria that we use to diagnose. So there are about 8 factors. And if you meet 5 of the 8, then you are clinically diagnosed with depression. And we take a look at this in a period of 2 weeks. So if you're wondering, just follow along and keep track of these things that may relate to you. Now, I'm not advocating that you diagnose yourself, but I'm just saying if you want to know where you are, you can follow along. So, number 1, if you are feeling, again, in the last 2 weeks, like a 2-week consistent period, having a depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day. Number 2, diminished interest or no pleasure at all in doing most things or activities nearly every day. Number 3, significant weight loss, especially when you have not been dieting, or weight gain, or decrease or increase in appetite nearly every day. A slowdown of thought and a reduction of physical movement. So observable by others, not merely subjective feelings of restlessness, of being slowed down. So if you're feeling like, you know what, you could be moving a little bit slower, that other people might go, what's going on with you? You're not being yourself, that kind of thing. Number 5, fatigue or loss of energy nearly every day. Number 6, feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt nearly every day. Number 7, diminished ability to think or concentrate, or sometimes indecisiveness nearly every day. Recurrent thoughts of death, recurrent suicidal ideation without a specific plan or suicide attempt or specific plan for committing suicide. Now, that's the DSM-5, 8 factors. So if you meet 5 of those, then you're in therapy. We will diagnose you with having depression. So you're probably wondering, well, that's great. Maybe I meet 4, maybe I meet 5 or 6. How do I get it? How did I get it? Right? So number 1 is genetic predisposition. Number 2 is just having a chemical imbalance. Number 3 is sometimes when you have experienced death or loss, especially of somebody that you dearly, dearly loved. Personally, I can tell you, I went through this in 2013 where my dad passed away and I was like literally down in the dumps with depression for several months. Now, you got to decide too, because grieving is a thing. And then there's depression. So those can, the symptoms may be the same, but they're 2 different things. Also major events like moving, losing a job or change of income or getting divorced and sometimes even retiring. And sometimes even good events such as starting a new job, graduating or getting married or having a baby. Those things can also be a major stressor. Serious illnesses. When you're diagnosed with something, you can end up having depression. People that have substance abuse, most likely they will have some kind of clinical depression associated with that. Also, not to forget seasonal depression. Like I used to get it when I lived in Oregon because it rained so much and it was dark, dark, dark all the time. I used to actually get depressed. So that's a different type of depression, but it is caused by, the weather. So according to the National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, major depression is one of the most common mental disorders in the U.S. Now, in 2020, they estimated 17.3 million adults in the United States had at least one major depressive episode. And that represents about 7% of all U.S. adults. Now, they also went on to share factors like, the most common age group is like 18 to 25, and the most common economic status is like for individuals in lower income, lower education, and or unemployed. But I have to say that as a therapist, I see people from all walks of life. So these statistics to me, I guess they're a little different from my experience. So it's important to note that these statistics are based on self-reported data and may not capture individuals who have not sought treatment for their depression. So if you're experiencing symptoms like what I just read there, it is important that you try to seek mental health profession and care so that you can get really good care. As a therapist, one of my common practices is that when somebody comes into my office, depending on what their presenting problems are, but one of the things, my common practice that I do is I use this thing called the Patient Health Questionnaire, which, you probably know about because if you go to the doctor's office, I think most doctor's offices use it, but it's a multi-purpose instrument for screening, diagnosing, monitoring, and measuring the severity of depression. So it's a 9-question survey or questionnaire that will gauge to see whether you have minimal symptoms or major depression, minor depression, or even severe depression. So it asks you some very basic questions like, for example, do you have little interest or pleasure in doing things? And then you rate yourself. Are you feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? And then what does your appetite look like? Are you moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed? And then number 9 is thoughts that you would be better off dead or hurting yourself in some way. So you answer all the questions 1 through 9, and then you tabulate the score, and then you look at the table, and then you're able to decide, like, where do I fall? Do I have minor symptoms, minor depression, or severe, like whatever that looks like for you? Now, again, I'm not advocating that you diagnose yourself, but it's a good tool. I mean, these are free tools that are online that you can absolutely just go online and see where you fall if you want to understand, or maybe you know somebody who might be going through, like your partner, and then you can kind of see like where they fall on that scale. But I do recommend that you seek professional help. Okay. Depression can have significant effect on your marriage. So I want to talk about this because if you don't know what you're dealing with, it can really affect your marriage. It can impact the emotional, psychological, and physical well-being of both people in that relationship. So I'm going to share some ways that depression can affect marriages. So number 1, it can definitely put a strain on your communication. So depression can cause one or both partners to withdraw emotionally, which can make it difficult to communicate effectively. And as you know, this can lead to misunderstandings, arguments, and feelings of isolation. Depression can also cause, maybe there's a lack of intimacy there, because the libido is impacted and can lead to a loss of sexual desire. So this can strain the physical intimacy between partners and may lead to feelings of rejection and frustration and sometimes infidelity. Depression can cause irritability in mood swings. I mean, even on that questionnaire that I was reading, they even ask, are you feeling more irritable lately? So it can increase conflict between the two people who are in a relationship. And that can lead to arguments and conflict within a marriage or relationship. And this can be especially challenging if the other partner does not understand the root cause of the mood changes. Depression can make it difficult for one partner to provide emotional support to the other, especially when you don't quite understand, even know like how long this episode is going to go. It can really, really be challenging. And that can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. And not to mention the financial strain, because oftentimes people with depression end up missing work, end up being distracted, that they make mistakes at work and end up losing their jobs. And so then there's a loss of income within that partnership, right? And this can put significant financial strain on the marriage. So it is important for couples to seek professional help and support when dealing with depression. And this can include therapy, medication, lifestyle changes to help manage symptoms and then keep your relationship going strong. So, all right, depression can be challenging, like I've been talking about this whole time, to both the people, one who's going through it and the other who's supporting. So if you're wondering, what do you do to love, care, and support a partner with depression? Here are some tips to do that. Number 1 is to educate yourself about depression. It's essential to understand depression and how it affects your partner. Like, what do they feel, And you can do that by reading books, articles, or attending support groups to gain insight into the condition and learn how to be supportive. Because I know you love your partner. You just want to support them in the best way so that they can get better and get through it. And then the other thing you can do is to really listen to them, right? Because they are the ones who are going through it. Don't try to fix the situation or offer solutions. Like, if you just get up and take a shower and do this, or if you just do this, like, don't try to do that, but instead offer a listening ear and a shoulder to lean on. One of my friends who struggles with depression shared with me that all she wants oftentimes is to have space. So give them space when they need space. Now, sometimes that can be challenging if you live in a small space. So you guys can kind of figure out a way when the person is experiencing depression, like, how do you give yourself space when you live in a studio apartment, for example? Okay, encourage them to seek professional help. While you can offer support, it's essential to understand that you're not a mental health professional. Encourage your partner to seek help from a therapist or other mental health professional. Offer to go with them. That would be something meaningful, I think, if they're open to doing that. So offer to go to appointments with them, whether you actually go into session with them or you just wait in the waiting area. Whatever they're comfortable with, offer to support them in that way. And then be patient, because, you don't know how long this is going to take. So it's essential to be patient and compassionate. Be supportive and understanding, even if your partner is struggling, because it's hard to watch your partner struggle. But remember to celebrate some small victories and progress, and don't judge or criticize them for their feelings. And sometimes what's good too is that you can offer some practical help, because depression can make the simplest tasks feel overwhelming. So offer practical help, such as doing grocery shopping or cooking or cleaning, and help them manage their responsibilities. But don't forget to take care of yourself, right? And also you can encourage healthy habits. So encourage your partner to engage in healthy habits such as like exercise or getting enough sleep, eating a balanced diet. So the beauty about that is with exercise, you can say, hey, let's go for a walk in the morning, or let's go for a walk in the evening, or let's go to the gym, or let's go hiking, or whatever that looks like. And in terms of like eating a balanced diet, I mean, you can actually prepare the meal and make sure that they're eating something that's super healthy, because it's good for you and it's good for them as well. And then just encourage them to go to bed early and, to get enough sleep. And like I said, offer to join them in these activities to provide motivation and support. So supporting a partner with depression requires patience, understanding, and compassion. So educate yourself about depression and listen to your partner. Encourage them to seek professional help and take care of yourself. Don't forget yourself in the process too, right? So, all right, I am going to offer you a tool that I use when I work with my clients. This is actually a pretty good tool. I will offer it to you here, but I encourage you to go to this website, therapyaid.com, and you can just type in there protective factors. This is a very simple exercise, actually, whether you are dealing with depression or you're not. It's just good to kind of gauge and see where you are. So what this exercise does, it looks at 6 different areas. So social support, coping skills, physical health, sense of purpose, self-esteem, and healthy thinking. So the idea behind it is for you to kind of look at these areas and rate yourself where you are, maybe in that last 2 weeks. So think about it from this perspective. Think of a scale 1 to 5. So 1 being lacking and then 5 being strong. Or you can use the scale they use on the form, which is weak, moderate, and strong. So you look at each one of these and then you rate yourself where you are. So go along with me if you may. So social support, we're talking about the ability to talk about problems, people to ask for practical help, and feelings of love, intimacy, and friendship. So when you think about that, where do you rate yourself? Are you a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5? Again, 5 being strong, like you are good. So write down your number for social support. And then the next one is coping skills. So that's the ability to manage uncomfortable emotions in a healthy way, and also an awareness of one's own emotions and recognition of how they influence behavior. So how do you rate yourself with coping skills? Are you, on a scale of 1 to 5? And then the next one is physical health. Adequate exercise or physical activity, a balanced and healthy diet, and also medical compliance if you're taking medication. So how do you rate yourself there? Sense of purpose. So meaningful involvement in work, education, or other roles. Understanding of personal values and living in accordance with those values. How do you rate yourself? And then there's self-esteem, and then there's healthy thinking. I'll skip to healthy thinking, which does not ruminate on mistakes, personal flaws, or problems. Ability to consider personal strengths and weaknesses rationally. So how do you rate yourself? So after you've done all 6 of them, I want you to take a look and see how you scored yourself in each area. Now, if anything is under a 3, I feel like that's an area that is lacking. So you want to take a look and go, okay, well, my physical health, I have a 2. How do I move the needle from a 2 to 3? Then you ask yourself, am I getting adequate exercise or physical activity? If the answer is no, then maybe I'm going to incorporate a 10 to 15 minute walk a day. Am I having a balanced and healthy diet? If the answer is no, then take a look at what you're eating and maybe add some vegetables, maybe add some fruit. And if you're consuming alcohol or, things that are not, like soda, maybe even, then maybe you get rid of those things. And if you have a prescription for medication for mental health, and are you taking it on time? Are you taking it as prescribed? If the answer is no, then maybe you need to set yourself up to succeed so that you're able to be compliant with your taking your medicine. Put a timer on your phone or reminders or whatever that looks like that will help you actually do what you need to do. So do the same thing with each and every one of these protective factors and come up with solutions of how to improve what area is lacking, and then come up with a plan. So on page 2 of that worksheet it breaks it down for you to be able to come up with a really good strategy to add this to your toolbox. So thisTherapyAid.com is actually a pretty good website where one of the protective factors is coping skills. You can actually go on that website also and just type in coping skills for depression, and it'll come up with different worksheets and stuff that you can do to add more and more coping skills to your toolbox. So, all right. This has been so fun. Hopefully this was helpful for you. But I want to know from you, what are some of the things that you're doing or that you have seen to work when dealing with depression? How do you as a couple help support each other when one is going through depression? So if you have any questions also, I'm happy to receive your messages and I will answer them the best way that I can. And I'm looking forward to next week as the next episode actually would be me interviewing a wonderful, wonderful woman who was diagnosed with depression at the age of 14. So she's going to be sharing her journey with depression and how she has navigated being in relationships with this, disorder. So look for that episode coming soon. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time. Look at you, my friend. You made it all the way to the end. I'm so grateful. So the fact that you did make it all the way to the end, that means you liked this episode. So go ahead and be a hero. Send it to 3 people. And then go to iTunes where you can rate and review this podcast.